Alrighty, we'll see how this goes. Uh, First video. Probably, at least because I started doing another video and then I kind of forgot what I was doing and the thing I was talking about, and then here we are, like 2 or 3 days later. So, anyway, so the topic of today is gonna be the joys of life. It's gonna be kind of a mixture of a little bit of sad stuff, a little bit of happy stuff. It kind of, you know, gonna be a kind of a mixed bag depending on whether you like, you know, how you like your tea, I guess. You know, some people like black tea, some people don't. So, with that odd metaphor out of the way, on more context, so the game we got here today is TemTem Swarm. It's kind of based on, it's a vampire survivor-like, or I think they just call it survivor-like, or honestly I'm not sure. Anyway, it's based on the TemTem Pokemon off-brand, no, not off-brand, the Pokemon-like game TemTem, which is I haven't actually played it myself, but I like Pokemon, and survivor-likes are cool, and this thing has, you know, some Pokemon aspects, and you evolve your Pokemon and stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's still pretty new to it, so spoiler alert, I'm not very good. You'll actually see me, depending on how long this conversation goes, because I do have 2 videos in queue as I'm going to be talking here, and both are unfortunate losses. But I got to like the end, and then I died because I think I got greedy. But we'll see. I'll probably comment on it as we're going. But regardless, back to the joys of life. So, one of the things that I've always considered is how to be happy. You know, because for me, I have always struggled with figuring out how to be happy. And which might sound silly, and it might be intellectualizing my emotions, which probably doesn't help either. But the point is that it's an interesting thing to think about for me, because, I mean, obviously everyone is different. Everyone's going to experience things differently. But for me, I've always liked sitting down and doing stuff in solitude. You know, I like to sit down and write. I like, you know, even doing this. You know, I'm sitting here alone in a room. You know, I've got the window curtains open. I've got my cat sitting over here somewhere. I think he's sleeping in his hovel. And you know, as it goes. Or reading. That's another thing I enjoy. Point is, oftentimes I recharge and relax and enjoy my time alone. And I think it's because, for me, I've always enjoyed, my happiness comes from not being fake, which might sound obvious, but I often find that, because if you're new, and if you didn't watch the other video, the introduction, I suppose context is necessary. I'm on the spectrum. I don't really find that it, you know, makes me as weird as, you know, like, I'm a weird dude, but I'm not like autistic weird, I'm just regular weird, I guess. Like, I'm the nerd that, you know, likes, you know, Star Wars and Star Trek and Serenity and, you know, some Destiny and, I don't know, you know, like, the nerdy kid, you know, when you think about it. Which isn't a foreign concept, I'm sure. And I think it's always interesting to think about the fact that for me, my happiness comes from being able to enjoy like peace and quiet. And that's kind of enhanced when I can enjoy it with someone else. Which is an aspect that of the conversation is happiness for me comes from relationships, and not necessarily romantic ones, but you know, same with platonic or you know whatever, and being able to just sit in silence and have like general little tidbits of conversation and then returning back to doing whatever, you know, sitting and reading or just playing games and then like turning over and laughing about one thing or what have you. But I've actually never enjoyed music myself. Not very much. Obviously I listen to music and, you know, it's one of those things to me that's unnecessary. Or not unnecessary, but you know, it's not very. Oh, little yawn. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. So for me, music's always been secondary. It's usually just something that helps me zone out. It's not really something I enjoy because I don't really hear lyrics or like the actual music itself like at the same time, or at least I struggle to. So oftentimes I'll just listen to music, and because I just zone out listening to the words, I often just, it's often a way for me to just zone out in general, which is often why I think why audiobooks do good for me, you know, because I enjoy, you know, because often a lot of my jobs that I have done so far are driving, and for me I think having an audiobook on in the background has always been nice, or even like in this sense YouTube. And, you know, having a voice to listen to when is nice when I'm trying to, like I'm just trying to zone out. I'm not saying you should zone out while driving. It's not a good idea. But, you know, because for me, it's like, if I zone out with music, I'm usually zoning that out to focus on something else. Whereas with audiobooks, I zone out on whatever else I'm doing to focus in on that. So, it's an interesting form of practicality for me, which I find interesting because other people, they can be content just laying around or sitting around doing, you know, doing just nothing. And for me, it's, well, I mean, doing nothing and listening to music. But for me, it's quite the opposite. But I think often a common experience with humanity and finding happiness, finding joy in everyday life comes from things like feeling the sun on your skin. You know, that's like one of the things that, like feeling water on your skin, you know, feeling connections and sensations, you know, achievements, accomplishments, what have you. It's those things that I mean, those dig down to our core of being human. You know, through evolution, we've grown to adjust to, you know, to have positive reinforcement for the things that we do, which I think is why, you know, accomplishment does so much for us. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people like myself, we spend a lot of time being unhappy, which might sound odd to some people, because some people might just go like, oh, that's you know, whatever, because you know, you're not really unhappy, you're just not happy, you're just like neutral. But there is a metaphor that I thought of a while ago when I was explaining like bipolar depression to, you know, other people and friends, what have you, and that's often what I like to return to, and that being bipolar depression, or depression in general, often comes in the form of, to me, like a ratio. And in our natural state, and our being, you know, us depressed people, our natural state is often -1 to like -1 to 0. -1 being like 1 tick of depression, and then a 0 of manic, you know, positivity. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough real quick. And so it's hard when you're in a relationship with someone who is bipolar, I think, because they constantly have this ratio in their head, that in their body even, that you're constantly fighting that -1. And if whatever thing happens and you happen to add to that negative, or I don't know, or you don't do anything to add to the positive, then that person is just going to be in a constant -1 state, which isn't necessarily bad. It's manageable, I think, for most people, especially as you get older. Because for anyone that doesn't know, I'll be 24 this year, and even at like a few years ago, because obviously I've been dealing with it for a while now. For a few years ago, even, I would have just laid in bed and rotted in bed and just slept all my days away, because to me, I didn't try finding the little joys in life, or I would always make the excuse that I tried but just never could. And I have tried throughout the years. I've tried different things and what have you, but I think I've always just tried things that were never really me, you know, because I think that's something even now I'm still learning, is the autistic masking deal, because masking often comes in the form of oh gosh, excuse me, I'm gonna cough again real quick. I forgot to fill up my water, so I guess I'll just have something in my throat. That should be good. Anyway, masking. So I think it's also some form of anxiety. I don't know if they go hand in hand. I don't know if, you know, one comes the other. But for me, at least, I've always found that when I want to do something, I'm always judging. Ugh, excuse me. Hiccup. I really should have filled my water. When I want to do something, for me, I often have to like judge how it's going to be interpreted, how it's going to be received by other people. And when I go to do something without thinking about it, I often hesitate, and I try to play it off jokingly to kind of test the waters, you know, how it's going to be interpreted. And I think that's a pretty common deal, you know. And it's interesting to me because when it comes to the small joys in life, that's very limiting. Because if, you know, for example, one of their joys in life happens to be climbing a tree or playing in a jungle gym, you know, like those are very childish based things. But it doesn't matter. Like, people think of those as like childhood activities and will only limit themselves to, you know, children doing it. You know, if you get older and you want to climb stuff, you have to go rock climbing it, or mountain climbing, whatever. And I don't think that's fair, you know? Like, obviously there are things that are a bit strange, for sure. I definitely think it would be odd to, you know, have if there's a playground full of kids, it's a bit odd to jump in, or you know, or like a bounce house full of kids. If you're not related to any of them and you don't know any of them, it can be a little odd to want to just jump in and be one of them, especially when you're like 20 something. But you know, like, it's all in moderation. It's all in like consideration. Because you know, obviously if you want to do that, it's like, you know, if you're gonna wait, you can wait till school hours. You know, people often, you know, during the day where people are working their day jobs, you know. Obviously if you're in school, it's a little bit of a different story, but I don't know. It's stuff like that kind of bugs me. It's like, it's a little political to get into it, but you know, for me, I think there is a good distinction between different gendered bathrooms. And if you're non-binary, if you're trans, if you're this or that, that's your deal. None of my business. And like, I get for the efficiency of public places of having like a multi-stalled female bathroom and a multi-stalled and urinal male bathroom. And then that does make it confusing for, you know, trans people, because if they find themselves as a woman, then they want to go in the female bathroom. But if they still have, you know, male parts, then, you know, it might be confusing. But I don't know, it's one of those things to me in that similar vein of like judging how people will view things, because it's one thing to just like make a big deal out of something, but you're still doing it, you know what I mean? Like, if you're an adult and you're gonna go play on the playground, that's fine, but it's like, it's a different story if you start getting a little extra friendly with the kids, you know? No one wants that. No one should want that. It's, I don't know. I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole with that. That might be a little too controversial for a beginning video. But, oh, there it is, the first death of the video. We're going to transition over to the second one now. That first one I was playing the duck, I don't remember his name, and now I'm going to be playing the monkey in this video, or in this one. The monkey, I think I prefer, because I like being closer to the enemies, but it's really annoying with this one, with this map, because there's a lot of ranged guys, and it kind of makes it hard. Oh, got a notification. What is it? Oh, interesting. Okay. Anyway. So yeah. So more things along the lines of small joys. And it's... Small joys are very interesting to me. It's very... To me, it's almost controversial. Like, internally. Because... Oftentimes... I'll find myself enjoying it one day, and then I'll go back and struggle to enjoy it another day. But food is one thing I think everyone can agree on that is enjoyable. You know, everyone's gotta live, everyone's gotta eat, everyone's gotta die. And obviously eating can come in different forms. Some people are unfortunately medically inclined to receive their nutrition in different forms. And that's okay, you know? Obviously it can be a struggle, and that's miserable, but you know, I think it's one of those things that kind of helps people find new ways of life that, you know, other people are unfamiliar with. And I think that's really interesting to me, because if you wanted to, for example, live a day of your life without your hands, without your legs, without your like, without being able to move, you know, without being able to eat sugar, it's all a challenge. And some people, you know, like the sugar, some people do it, you know, of their own volition. Some people are forced to do it, and it's a challenge. And like me personally, thankfully, I don't have any of those issues. I might have a lactose intolerance slightly, but other than that, like, I don't really have any issues, and it makes me thankful. But it also makes me sad to think that other people don't get to experience the same thing. Like, I love peanut butter, and I love cheese, and some people, you know, would kind of die if they had peanut butter. And it's kind of crazy to me. And that's just like the common stuff. I can't imagine how it would be trying to, you know, work around not eating. I don't know, I've got this thing right here. Let me see. It's peanut butter, fun fact, because I was eating peanut butter out of the jar. Actually, there's like nothing in this. That's actually cool. Here, let's look at this other thing. God, this is a seasoning. garlic is a pretty big one. It means you pretty much can't eat, like, you can't eat anything, like, made in a public restaurant, you know? Because most things are made with garlic. But it's so good. It's so tasty. And, well, hopefully the screen didn't, hopefully the recording didn't go whack. Because I unfortunately play on a laptop, but it is what it is, and it goes to sleep sometimes, which I could say change the settings. Anyway, sidetrack. Work is another, joy. For my girlfriend, she often, feels worse when she doesn't work because she loves socializing. And I'm kind of the opposite. If I work, I like working myself, but I'm not too big on the socializing part. I'm more feel more accomplishment from finishing, not necessarily, I suppose, finishing, because I worked at Domino's for a while, and part of the thing that made me happy was, making someone's pizza, and if they're sitting there like, ooh, I love pepperoni, or I love, what's an uncommon topping? Salami. I think most stores got rid of salami, which is kind of the most sad thing to me, because I love salami myself. And if someone told me like, oh, I love salami, I'd be like, I got you. And I'd put a little extra on there. And then it makes their day. And they're like, seeing their smile is one of the things that made me happy. And oftentimes I was the kind of person to, on my own lunchtime, spending my own money, going over to the store to, buy some energy drinks for, my coworkers, or buying some chocolate for the store, and this or that. And it made people happy. That little something to, enjoy themselves. To kind of ground themselves that, work sucks, but, there's good things about it. There's good people. And I think that's one of the good things. One of the things I enjoyed about Domino's. And I think that kind of makes my other points, actually, plural, accomplishment. Playing video games, reading a book, working, this or that. I think I mentioned it. I already forgot. But accomplishment is a big thing. Daily accomplishments, even in small form. For me, it's this video, getting this video done. It's, if I can get it done, make it nice, make it to something I'm happy with. Obviously my mic quality isn't great. The gameplay, 2 losses. No one wants to see losses, but it's just background gameplay. It's nothing crazy to me. Well, I don't know if you heard that, but my headphones are dying for some reason, which is kind of annoying. I guess I'll come. I guess I'll just keep talking while I do this, but yeah. So, accomplishments. It's small. I mean, like even this, like the headphones dying randomly on me because the battery is janky, I guess, even though it says they're at 60%. Or maybe they're just dying, or just turning off on me because they think something negative. I don't know. Anyway. The point is like, accomplishments kind of make... I didn't even finish that that idea, huh? It's small things like the headphones that kind of like set you back in a day. It's that like little annoyance that, you know, like when you want some chapstick and you just can't find it. Or you're walking through your house and for whatever reason your shirt gets stuck on a handle, door handle. Or like a cabinet handle or something. Or your pants or whatever. Like, it's a little frustration. Or like you get back home from work and you find out like your animal, freaked out and made a mess, and now like you have to clean up like broken glass or something. And then it's like now you're worried about your pet and make sure they didn't cut themselves, whatever, or they didn't eat any of the glass for whatever reason, or something along those lines that just kind of puts a damper on things, especially if you had a rough long day. Which I think to me is one of the positives about sleep. And a lot of people surprisingly don't have the same opinion. A lot of people feel like they waste time sleeping, which I do find is interesting. It's probably a topic for another day. But, for me, I love sleep, and dreams themselves are kind of a form of accomplishment for me. To me, I feel like there's something valuable in, getting comfy in bed, turning on, some TV or, watching a YouTube video and just relaxing and closing your eyes and knowing that you're okay. And knowing that out of anything that could happen, you can still lay down in your bed and just relax. Like, if you've had the worst day at work and you get home and all you want to do is sleep because you're just that exhausted, that's your right. You can lay down and sleep. Obviously, a lot of people have obligations and stuff, but at some point you can sleep. You can lay down and forget about it, which is nice. And speaking of sleep, excuse me. Are my headphones on? They are. Sound like made a sound. But anyway. Yeah. So, I guess as we're kind of nearing the end here, there's about 9 minutes left in this gameplay. I might just let it play out, but if you're listening to this and you're in a similar place where I'm at, where depression kind of eats your life, try something new. And it doesn't have to be, a new hobby. It doesn't have to be new food. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Just, if you spend your days sitting inside sleeping like I do, try just sitting outside. Like, you can still watch that YouTube video. You can still eat that food. You can still read that book. You can still do this and that outside. Obviously, there's going to be glare or something. So if you sit in the shade, and obviously it's hot, for most places at least. Like for me, it's like 90 something right now, I think, outside. It sucks. But sitting in the shade isn't bad. especially when there's a nice wind. For me, that's always been one of my few joys that I've always enjoyed. Redundancies in my sentences, apparently. My joys have always been stuff like sitting outside in the shade where it's 70, 80 degrees, which is warm to me, and that's Fahrenheit, by the way, in case anyone prefers the Celsius system. But regardless, sitting outside in the shade where it's warm out, but the shade is cool, and then you've got like the nice cool breeze, a consistent cool breeze, and you know, being able to just relax, like lay in some grass that's not gross and dirty and, you know, covered in ants and full of dog poop and, you know, whatever. It's one of those things. I used to love rolling in the grass, you know, rolling in some dirt, I mean, you name it, boy stuff. And I think as I've gotten older, that's one of the few things that I think I would enjoy doing. You know, I went to the beach recently, and I didn't, but I think I would have really enjoyed digging a hole. That's one of those typical boy things, you know. And I don't know. Try something new. It doesn't have to be something big. If you're already on your computer, try a new game. Try researching something new. Reading something new. You know, if you like history and you love the medieval era. I don't remember what the movie was called, some form of Cinderella. And it was actually really good. And I'm usually not the type to like, you know, Brothers Grimm stories. You know, I don't like care much for the princess stories. But the medieval setting was really cool to me. And like seeing like genuine like medieval story, it's really cool. But there's always something else that you could do. You know, I tried to play Phase 10. It's a card game. Card game I played through my childhood. Tried to play that with my girlfriend, and she doesn't really play card games, and if she does, she doesn't take it very seriously. There might be some background noise coming up, some dog noise. So I apologize if you can hear it. It might start barking or whatever, but point is, there you go. Yeah, try something new. Try a new game, try a new strategy, try a new build, watch a new video, play a new game, play a different class, try something new. Like, even if you're familiar and you only enjoy like one class or one form of gameplay, you know, even if you don't enjoy that thing, then you'll still enjoy going back and being familiar with the thing that you love. You know, it kind of sparks at least that joy of returning to something you enjoy, and not just not repeating the same thing you've always done. You know, for me, I might try. Let's see, what am I doing today? I'm gonna go have lunch with my girlfriend, and from there, I'm not sure. So I might try reading in a park or something. And I'm gonna have to find a park because I don't I don't know where there's parks. It's not like there's just one park in the city, you know? Because there's a few parks, and maybe I could drive a little bit far away and, you know, go find a riverside shady spot to go read in. I think I'd enjoy that. And maybe I'll bring my earbuds and just relax and listen to me some music and read for a long while. Because I've been struggling to finish my book because it's gotten to a boring part to me. Because I'm not a big fan of politics or people-y stuff. So it's kind of a slog to get through. But I'll get through it. And then I'll be happier that I did. Because, well, I'm reading Brandon Sanderson, and if anyone's familiar with his books, a lot of his payouts often come, you know, at the end of the book. And I look forward to it. I look forward to working through and getting to that point. Maybe I'll hop in the river. It's gonna be cold, but it's hot out, so it'll be a nice balance, I think. Yeah, it's getting pretty near to the end, unfortunately. So I think I'll just let you all enjoy the rest of this gameplay and just enjoy some silence for now. Well, not silence, but, you know, maybe just think about stuff. And if you want to just leave the video, skip the video, and, you know, or maybe just enjoy having some time to just think, I invite you to do so. Have a good one.